and welcome to the Two Dudes Movie Podcast. This week we're going to be discussing Wandavision Episode 7, and boy are things getting magical. It was Agatha all along.
Well, that was
it?
That was creating the mess ups. And I honestly, I said it to you last night. Like, absolute props to Marvel, because they've managed to make it so that we completely expected this, and then throughout the series they just put us off course. They made us feel like she was a red herring, and then all of a sudden it was oh no, you were right all along, and it's just made the reveal all more of a oh my god, we were right. Like, I didn't expect it, and yet it was something we felt like we knew from the start.
Yeah, so off the bat, I just want to say, in my opinion, I think this was a disappointing episode, and I think this is where we're going to run into the problems of this show. So, in terms of the big revelations of this episode,
yeah,
obviously spoilers. I've already spoiled it, but go away. Stop watching these things if you don't want spoilers.
Yeah,
I can't even go on Twitter without getting things spoiled. And in fact, that might be where I start. So, Friday, Twitter, again, for some reason, people just don't know how spoilers work. So they just tweet them anyway. And I saw one that said, the moment when Agatha Harkness says, "I am Agatha Harkness," and I was like, yeah, I know. Cool. Okay. And then I also saw lots of people saying how mind-blowing this episode was, and how like everything's come together and all the reveals and revelations. And then I watched it and was like, where are they? So the revelations we got Agatha Harkness being very significant. We found out more about Quicksilver. Yeah. We saw Monica get her powers, not seen her use them properly, but we've seen her we now know that she has them. We saw the person Monica was meeting up on the ridge. Is that it? Is that all the little reveals?
And we saw that Paul Bettany and
we saw who Darcy was.
Kat Dennings are an amazing comedic duo that I never knew I needed.
Yeah. So lots of reveals, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I think the problem was there wasn't a single revelation in this episode that felt new. I think every single thing in this episode just felt like, yes, we know. And this was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
There had to be an episode where things that we knew were happening started to come true. But I think because they all came into this one episode, it just felt a bit, to me, muted and a bit of filler. I know it wasn't filler, but to me it really felt filler.
For me, it signals 100% this is the beginning of the end. It's from here that things start to, just like we found in the first couple of episodes, this is where, this is almost like the episode 3 but backwards. This is where things start to go, well, in one direction. Just like in episode 3, that's where things sort of like came to a head. That was kind of the end of it, and then things from there were going to start picking up. This is the same here.
Yeah.
I think the issue I think a lot of fans are going to find now is that this is where the theories start to unravel. This is where people start to become disappointed because their theory wasn't right.
So I have seen this, and I just want to comment on this. My disappointment is in no way because I was right or wrong. I think the revelations are great. I think the story is great. My disappointment solely comes from the specific revelations that were made, and one that wasn't made, as I'll get to in a second, left a bit of a... Yeah, from before the show aired, we knew that Agnes was probably Agatha Harkness, and making her that was that.
Yeah.
The way the revelation was done, I think, was fantastic. I think in story, again, if this had all been dropped at once, I'd be well into it. I think it would be a great moment.
I think because it's giving you time to think about all what could happen, what might happen, and this is where the serial drama comes in.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest potholes in mystery. So there's two ways to write a mystery. You can write a mystery because for murder mysteries or anything, you can write a mystery that people can figure out, and if you give them the clues and the necessary information to be able to work it out. And those are my kind of mysteries. That's this kind of mystery, where the clues are all there, you've just got to see them. But this is also the other kind of mystery, which is it makes it absolutely impossible to figure out because all the information you isn't presented. So if you watch it again, you get nothing new. I think this show suffers from trying to do both. It tries to give you evidence to point at certain things. And again, there's 2 episodes left. We're not done. I have high hopes for how the show will end.
Yeah.
But I feel this episode with Agatha is like, oh, actually, she was just acting within the universe. She was acting and pretending it wasn't her. So you can absolutely take from all the past episodes that Agatha cannot be running this thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the most logical conclusion with the evidence brought. And yet, nope, she was. Which is fine.
But here's the thing. She wasn't. There's no, like, it says it in the whole thing. Agatha's the reason why everything was going wrong, but not the reason why things are happening in certain ways. I still think that...
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Because obviously I think it's... I completely agree with you. The kind of end skit of the episode of just showing Agatha throughout the whole thing and how she impacted it kind of took a bit away from me, because I was sort of sat there going, well, this is all almost like the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And it meant that unless you've seen that, there's no way in when you re-watch the other scenes that, it, as you say, you could go, oh, that's...
You can't
that's what we see
in the corner of your eye.
Corner of your eye. That's exactly what I was thinking, is you almost need that wink to the audience that you see in the later thing in the corner of your eye, in a corner of a frame somewhere. But
or in a reflection of something.
Yeah. Now, the whole point is Agatha has been a big central point of a lot of theories and a lot of people's theories, both going into it and also throughout it. So I think the reveal does help still. And it's, as you said, it's still a good reveal. I just think that maybe that little end bit... I also get really annoyed at the fact that we get that little end skit and then they don't give you any more.
Yeah.
And I'm like... Oh.
So one of the things that mystery series do, their point is to make you think and wonder and question them. And one of the problems is when they're disappointing and when people are unsatisfied, there is a certain section of the internet who tells you that it's your fault, you got hyped, you got engaged in this. And I would strongly disagree that no, it is the fault of the show, because that's its purpose. It's aiming to create an engaging mystery over 9 episodes, over 9 weeks. So it should be aware that people are going to theorize. Marvel should be painfully aware that people are going to frame by frame that stuff.
Yeah. Well, like, I take it back to almost what we were saying in our own things, is like we were hyped about this idea of it being AIM. And then they revealed the next time, no, it's not. It's nothing to do with that. And in many ways...
Maybe.
You never know. But in many ways, that could be we could have been really disappointed at that. We weren't, because they almost did it in the right way. They didn't lead you too much. It's almost like leading on. They didn't lead you on too much, and then to switch things, or like I think what your point is about with Agatha and stuff is that they made us. We knew from the start.
We knew before this show aired that it was going to be Agatha Harkness, and then they both said it was, it wasn't, and then acted like it was an enormous reveal that it was her. And I'm like, but the only reason anyone thought it wasn't is because you told them it wasn't. Yeah. And it's if the AIM thing turns out to be true, I will feel vindicated in the knowledge of, wow, we saw the clues and we put them together. Yeah. And they didn't directly say it was or wasn't, and they just kind of let it happen. Yeah. I think an example of this within the show is Monica's friend on the hill, who was clued and hinted at for 2 episodes that it would be someone important and someone of significance by not naming that person. Not saying I have some friends in S.H.I.E.L.D. who can help. Yeah. Even then it might have been a hint, but it would have been, oh, it is some friends from S.H.I.E.L.D., you know what I mean? But saying it's my contact, an old colleague, not a group of people in S.H.I.E.L.D. for a start. Because
that person may be really important to her, and it might even be really important in the future. They could come up again in the final episodes of this or Falcon and Winter Soldier, but to an audience at that moment, it's kind of like a nothing reveal. Now, there might even be a case, because obviously they say, did we make it to your specifications? The person who actually made it could be still Reed Richards, but in that reveal itself not being someone of importance, not even it couldn't, it didn't have to be a character who's going to be in a movie later on or anything like that. It could just be a character we knew. It kind of it may have left a slight disappointment in people. Now, personally, I didn't really care about that really much anyway, and I wasn't disappointed in many ways by the Agatha Harkness thing, because I do find it quite good that they've managed to make it so that some people, like myself, believe that maybe, and always push her to one side after all the theories have just came out. But the reveal of how it was they then did the skit at the end felt a bit cheap and okay, well, we didn't get this in the actual episodes.
It's that point of, you literally have Jimmy in episode 4 with a whiteboard looking for clues, and then all of Agatha Harkness's clues weren't clues. They were things that we could never have guessed that she was responsible for, because they blatantly said or implied that she was nothing to do with these things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you get into the trouble of these shows, is you want to build this hype and get people engaged, but you want to have this sustaining mystery, but you have to cleverly seed it. You can't just not lazily, I would say this show has not lazily done it, but basically lazily do a rewrite and be like,
this person was behind it all along.
Yeah. Actually, all those things you thought were just random occurrences, Agatha was deliberately doing them. How could you have figured out Agatha was deliberately doing those things, even though she acted in the scenes as if she was not deliberately doing those things?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. There would have been no way to figure out she was responsible for those things.
The Sparky thing.
Yes.
There was...
No, the Sparky the dog, I would say, was the only time where I feel like you could argue that she did it, because there's no hint in that moment that she wasn't responsible. In the moment with Herb and his fence, for example... Yeah.
She was not to be seen.
She was. She was next to him later on.
Yeah, but earlier on...
acting as if she was in no control and was also just super scared of Wanda. We have to do what she wants. When Quicksilver comes to the door, we didn't see her. We didn't see her just... You know what I mean? She hadn't knocked on the door first, left, then Quicksilver's at the door. And it could have been hinted she was close by.
However, I suppose in many ways what they probably would have liked you to infer at that moment is who's usually knocking on the door.
Maybe, but Wanda also said it was nothing to do. I just think, I don't know. It felt a bit cheap. It felt a bit. We know everyone's going to think it's Agatha Harkness, so we'll tell them it's not, and then it will be. Like the scene in the car where she's pretending to Vision. All of that was fake. Okay, so how could we have possibly figured out all that was fake? There wasn't a clue or a line she said or a wink. Or something like that.
It was that made me then just completely turn off the theory of her being Agatha. Because, in all the other moments, yes, her being around when Wanda was using the magic, her not being fazed by the kids aging up, what she was saying when in that scene with Herb, as we've mentioned, all of those moments, I still very much could have gone, yeah, but she could be still a prisoner in the place, but still pulling some strings. But it was that moment that I went, oh no, it's definitely not her. Because it made no sense to be her at that point.
So Agatha Harkness is in some way involved. From my personal opinion, and what I get, is we see in that little clip, that little theme music, her appear into Westview in the... I can't remember which, it was either the 50s or the 60s, whichever the first one was. Yeah. We saw her appear into that attire, switch herself, which means that she did not make and could not have been involved in the making of Westview, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I think it's interesting because obviously looking at the initial sort of reveal of, where the kids and her going down to the basement, you've got that book, reminds me very much of the books that we see in Doctor Strange, because obviously it's magic.
I saw a theory on that, and I can't remember the movie Doctor Strange well enough, but there is actually one book missing in the library.
Yeah.
When he goes to the library, there is one book missing, and could be that one. But I can't remember if that's just the book from the movie. But
No, because they only take a couple of...
They don't take pages.
They don't take pages from it, so it could very much be that. I think it's obviously that's the way... For me, my theory is always still going to be Ralph is Mephisto. That's the way she contacted him. That's the way she got into this reality. I still it's important to say the magic that Agatha uses and Wanda uses are very different. And more importantly, the power levels are completely different. Like Agatha, yeah, she's powerful. Yes, she can manipulate people, but it's nowhere near the level, potential level of energy that Wanda has, which is why Wanda can create this. And obviously, as we see throughout this this episode, she's losing control of it. But Wanda can maintain this, while Agatha, there's no way she orchestrated it. Which is why I also don't think maybe she could have done it through the help of Mephisto. Maybe that was just them manipulating her, but I don't think she brought Pietro into this.
See, this is my big thing now, and this might be the rock I die upon. This might be the end of my terrible run on predictions so far. Being another awful prediction, apparently, that sounds great at the time, and then you see another episode and you're like, nope, that's incorrect. But Mephisto is nothing to do with this, and everyone has just decided it's Mephisto, and there is no evidence of Mephisto.
No,
I can't think of any evidence of Mephisto actually being in it, other than a rumor before the show came out that Evan Peters was cast as Mephisto, which again could be true, but at this point that's not the case, is it?
No,
because Mephisto, Evan Peters is playing Quicksilver or something.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that in a second. But I am quite certain that Mephisto is just not involved. I think he is a red herring of people's, because there's still people theorizing that Mephisto's going to appear. Marvel keeps things simple.
That's true.
And I think Agatha Harkness is the big bad. There's only 2 episodes left. And I don't think there is the leg room, the span to go, oh, actually, also Agatha Harkness is actually working for Mephisto, who actually wanted her to do this for this. I think whatever role Mephisto is going to fit, whatever people are saying Mephisto was going to do, Agatha Harkness, she's just filled that role.
Yeah, I think, if you look at how almost the structure of the next 2 episodes is going to be, it is... I am pretty certain, even if Mephisto is part of it, Mephisto won't be the big bad of the series. It will be... One episode will be focused on facing Agatha, and the other episode will be focusing on facing Hayward's sword, and then the aftermath of whatever might happen.
So a quick thing on where we might be going. Rumors were swirling this week that it would be 1 hour episodes. It's not 1 hour episodes. There was no source. No. And I just want to touch on this because it's driving me up the wall. The source in reference is that Kevin Feige said WandaVision was like a 6-hour movie. Mm-hmm. Or I think I haven't even seen or found that quote yet. Or he said the Disney Plus shows will be like 6-hour movies.
Yeah.
Whichever one it is, it doesn't really matter. I think people have taken this far too literally.
Yeah, they've tried to then work out the times.
At this point, with the episodes we've had, if you take every single episode so far at half an hour, some of them were less, some of them were a bit more, but around half an hour, let's say, that would mean on episode 7 we're at 3.5 hours. That leaves 2.5 hours. So either that means the next 2 episodes are each 1 hour and 15 minutes, or episode... another thing I've seen floated is that the final episode might just be a full movie. While I would adore like a full hour or a movie of this. It's not. I just can't see it happening.
No, it wouldn't make sense.
What I can't see is Marvel not saying that.
Yeah.
Out of the gate,
because it'd be a massive event. It'd be watch all these episodes because then you get the movie at the end, sort of thing.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get that after next week, but my hopes are not high. So going back to that whole expectations and hopes thing. This has not been promised. This is someone talking about the idea that the general MCU Disney Plus shows have 6 episodes. They won't be 6 hours anyway.
No.
They'll be 6 hours minus 15 minutes for each one, because they'll probably be 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
I just think people have taken a lot of credence in this line, and I've seen so many people saying, well, where was my 1 hour Disney Plus episode? We were promised it, Kevin Feige. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
Some random person who made a little picture on Instagram or whatever promised you it. And again, you took it literally. That's not your fault, but you just need to accept that we're not owed extra time. I would love for this show to just keep going forever, because I could watch it all day, every day. But we're not owed it.
Well, this is the thing. It's almost the same as I think there was a casting call going out when this was first all going, saying this character that they were casting for was going to appear in episode 6 to 10.
Yes.
And that means that everyone's gone, oh, there's going to be a bonus episode because there's only been 9 announced. No. People have probably just read that and gone, oh, they probably mean 10, because there's no way a series can have 9 episodes. Or, it's a case of when they first made them, it was 10 episodes, and then they mixed them when filming.
Again, maybe the next episode, the final episode, will be a doubly long episode, or we'll get 2 episodes on that one night or something. Maybe. But if we were, why wouldn't Marvel say we're getting 10 episodes?
Yeah.
What do they gain? And I know it sounds amazing, like, oh, there's a secret episode, there's more. But what do they get out of it? They don't gain anything. In fact, they probably lose people, because people will go, oh, here's episode 9. Oh, no, you should have come back next week. There was a whole other episode. Oh, I thought it was only 9 episodes.
Yeah.
And by the way, for anyone who thinks there might be an episode secretly dropping that week, they have already announced that Assembled, I believe it's called, which is a behind-the-scenes Marvel documentary, will be dropping that week.
And my gosh, talk about clickbait. When I saw that advertised on Facebook, it was Marvel's Wandavision gets a new episode added at the end, and I'm like, no, this is behind the scenes.
I think this show has really just proved the clickbaitiness that people are willing to divulge just to get a headline. Yeah.
Like, people used to criticise clickbait, and people used to criticise SEO mining sort of thing, just like trying to get as much terms in there as possible in an article. But it's gotten worse with this, because they're not... Like, most news places need 2 sources in order to confirm something before they report it. These places, you've got to realise, guys, they don't need one. They don't even need one. They need a rumour. They need one person. I could go on Twitter tomorrow and go, oh, you know, I've heard this, and it could spread like wildfire, and that means 50 clickbait articles get written on it. But I don't know anything.
I can't remember what it was, and it said someone is confirmed for an appearance, and I was just like, are they? Wow, incredible. No, it was just like, confirmed by the fact that these things happen in the series, which mean I can't remember which character it was, someone who probably isn't going to appear, to someone who did appear in a shocking turn of events, Evan Peters as Quicksilver. I want to mark the land on which I stand. Again, there is no way they will bring Evan Peters Quicksilver into this show and make no reference to him being from the X-Men universe. I know it makes your theories look better if he does. I cannot fathom a universe where Marvel brings over a known popular actor from the X-Men universe into this universe and then goes, bit of fan service? Sorry. Like, if you want people to be angry, that is how to make them angry.
Yeah, it's like... It's the same. Look, guys, it's the same thing. You got to realise that the Far From Home casting of Electro as Jamie Foxx, it's the same thing. You got to say to yourself, look, they're not going to do that as fan service, because first of all, no one liked Electro, but second of all, because they're going, look, there's a deliberate reason why it's the same person.
It's not Electro because they felt bad that Jamie Foxx got a bad run. We'll just do it again. Don't worry about it. No, it will be. Again, I think Kevin Feige said that it will be a different quote-unquote version.
Yeah.
I think it will be like a more evolved form of that character. He will be from the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
100%. And I think the only way he wouldn't be from the Amazing Spider-Man universe is if he was from another similar universe, but he will not be from our universe. The point of casting someone different who's played the... Sorry, not the point of casting someone different. The point of casting someone who's played the role before is to bring that version over. If there's all this talk of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being in it, they're not going to bring them over and be like, oh no, these are completely different Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's not the same person. No, it's ridiculous.
This is actually Uncle Ben, Tobey Maguire's playing, which I think will be another thing, but he's not. He's playing Spider-Man, okay? Move on. Get over it.
But it's the same with Quicksilver. I think
Yes, it
there's a
will be
deliberate
in
reason
some way.
why, and obviously everyone's sort of saying the same thing. Is like, you look at the audio description of people hard for hearing and stuff like that. There's a reason why Marvel haven't stopped people in many ways. Haven't said no, this is definitely not the same version. Marvel have done really interesting things with it, really, because they've just kind of like left it alone. They're kind of going back away and gone, we're not making any comments about this. We're just having him in there, and you'll figure, because that means we're gonna find out.
Yeah, he's not done.
Yeah, and it'll be next episode or the episode after. As soon as whatever happens with the Hex happens, and his mind returns to normal, we will find out.
I think the other thing that has put me on this, and this is a hype machine. I'm not on the hype machine. I just think this makes so much sense. Paul Bettany promised an actor that was a huge deal and it was a really big plot twist. I think this is in the same Luke Skywalker quote, but it's a Luke Skywalker level cameo. And he also then this week has said that is someone he's wanted to work with his whole life. With all due respect to the beautiful man that Paul Bettany is, he ain't no spring chicken, okay?
No.
So if this is someone he's wanted to work with his entire life, career, whatever,
I know who this is going to be.
It has to be someone who is a contemporary, more likely older than him.
Yep.
And I think if you think of a cameo of who that could be, the first one I'd go with was Samuel L. Jackson, someone like that. But he's worked with him. Mm-hmm. Maybe not directly, so maybe that could be it, but I don't think it is Samuel L. Jackson.
I don't think that'd be a cameo either. Really, like I wouldn't count that as a cameo.
It's just another appearance.
I think whoever this person is, we'll go into who it might be, because I have a feeling it's one or two people.
Yeah, one of two.
And I think it would be really interesting. Okay, well, we'll go into that. It could be four. Anywho.
No, it's not the fourth. I know you're thinking of. It's not the fourth.
But no.
Why don't we just tell them? Why are we like skirting?
Because I want to say this point first, and I've completely forgot what I'm saying. No, yeah, the point being that it will be related to this more developed, older version of Pietro than what we've seen in the X-Men movies. Because otherwise it'd be someone like James McAvoy or Fassbender or someone like that, because they're in the same universe then, because they're the same age sort of thing. Whereas now we're seeing it and we're going, well, I don't know how time works across multiverse, but I'm guessing they're taking them from 2023 or wherever, 2026 or whatever it is that they're finding them from.
I think this is the reason, and I think this is the complication of who these characters might be, is the reason that Quicksilver was brought over in the episode that he was, I believe that was the 90s episode.
80s, 90s, it's kind of a cross.
It was either the 80s or the 90s, and that is the era from which Quicksilver in the X-Men universe would have been.
Right.
After his final appearance, that is where he would have been. I think the references to dying and all that stuff are because he just died in that universe, and it's just a big old coincidence. And Agatha or whoever pulled him over while he was dying, before he died, and is here.
Yeah.
Who do you think these characters are? Who do you think this cameo is?
I kind of disagree. I still think time's the same. I still think it's technically 2026 wherever they are. Yeah. I would put money on it being one of Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen.
Okay. The reason I think this works, and because you're saying, well, they pulled
the third person for me, by the way, was Kelsey Grammer. Beast.
Oh, the third person for me was Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy.
Yeah, they're not old enough.
I think you could argue James McAvoy, no, which is why I don't think it was him. Michael Fassbender, I think you could argue is old enough. I think the reason that doesn't work is he would have had to have been pulled from the 80s timeline. Yeah. The show is now at modern day in the 2000s, and thus it has to be Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart, because now they're being pulled over. They're being pulled from the X-Men universe in sync.
There is one person who kind of is the same age through all of it.
It's not Hugh Jackman.
But that would be incredible.
Shall I tell you how I know it's not Hugh Jackman?
Because he's always said he's not going to return to...
No, he will come back. There will be one. They can get one out of him.
It'll be
Whether
Deadpool
it be
3.
Doctor Strange or Deadpool or something, they'll get one out of him before they recast. The reason this isn't Wolverine is they do not do that on Disney+. That is a movie.
No, that's a huge thing, yeah.
I think the reason it will be Ian McKellen is...
Father.
The ties to Parenthood.
Yeah.
the ties. We know that he is Quicksilver's dad. I think the reason it would be Patrick Stewart would be the ties to the mental abilities and something like that.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it wasn't one of these. And that is not me saying I'm going to get super hyped and know it's going to be one. I just don't see it being anyone else of that level. I can't think of another character or another actor that you could get in of that age that we're looking at, that old thesp, that could walk in and everyone would be happy. Like, I think to take an idea of another person, like a Judi Dench person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great if they got Judi Dench up in here, but no one's going to be like, oh my god, it's Judi Dench. They're just going to be like, whoa, we got her for TV. it's not a big cameo. I think therefore it has to be a big character cameo.
Yeah.
And thus I can't think of anyone that age. Literally, I don't think there is another person.
You got to. I think for me, I'd put money on it more being towards Patrick Stewart than Ian McKellen. As much as I think that parenthood role, having that in this series would be incredible, as that almost like heart to heart. Him not do anything, him just be there talking to Wanda would be incredible. But for me, it would only really make sense. It sounds stupid to be Patrick Stewart, because I feel like Patrick Stewart, out of all the other X-Men characters, is the only one who may be able to reach Pietro as like through Cerebro. If there's a rift in the multiverse, he might be the only person who is able to reach him. I think Kelsey Grammer would be an incredible thing, and I think he'd fit perfectly into the MCU, but he wouldn't be him.
I think this will be interesting. I think this will be very interesting, whoever it is.
Yeah.
And
if it is anyone, it might not
be. No, it will be. There's something. There will be something up the sleeve. Whether it's just Doctor Strange, maybe, and he takes us into the multiverse movie, maybe. Yeah. But I think that to be fair, the more we talk about this episode, the more I think maybe it will be a longer episode.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a movie, because there's a lot to wrap up in an hour so far.
Well, yeah. Now, I do have one last thing to ask you about, and that is timelines. Because I was thinking about this the other day. Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, I made notes. I actually wrote this down because I wanted to bring this up.
Because Spider-Man Far From Home takes place 6 months after Endgame.
At least 8, actually, according to what I could see.
This is 2 weeks.
Yes.
So all this has happened by the time we watch Far From Home.
And this was the thing that I wanted to bring up as well, was we keep talking about something world bending is going to happen, like everyone's going to become mutants, but they can't.
Yeah. Unless it's a dormant thing that evolves over time, like the mutant gene.
Except if you make it a dormant thing, there can be no mutant adults.
Unless it just develops, like, because one of the things they're saying in Falcon and Winter Soldier is one of the things they may be searching for is Terrigen. So they could blend, and this would be completely weird, they could blend the Inhumans and the mutants together so the Terrigen activates the mutant gene just like it would in humans.
Remember, Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, or was supposed to come out, before WandaVision.
I could still search for it and it not happen.
No. See, but I think if you then start cluing that mutants are going to appear, we go into WandaVision thinking she's going to make mutants. That was a rumour, maybe, but there was no evidence to suggest she would. Quicksilver is the evidence, as is Monica, who we haven't actually spoken about yet.
Yeah, because Monica's a massive... But I do think the timelines is something that I think a lot of people may be missing, because this may be the issue with the future slate of Marvel, because timelines are going to be a big thing, and because of COVID, it's been messed up a little bit. Now, it does, in many ways, allow us to catch up with the MCU timeline, because, of course, they're in 2026.
Yeah, I thought that.
But...
no, they're in 2023.
No, it's 5 years after Infinity War.
After Infinity War. 18.
Oh, yeah.
So 2023.
Brain doesn't work. But it's interesting, because obviously we don't see any sign of it in Spider-Man. And, you can't say, there's a little pocket of the world that's not happened and it's not seen it. And you could even say it's not in the same universe, but who knows?
I do think of where this show's going. I think I've seen some ideas, and I thought this would be interesting. We know they want to make Vision a weapon. I thought, well, where does that fit into the MCU in the future? Because they're not resolving all this in this episode. Whether Vision lives or dies, they're still trying to make sentient weapons.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little show called Armor Wars, isn't there?
That's interesting. Well, that's the thing. One of the things that people have said could be another cameo is Don Cheadle appearing.
That's Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's confirmed to be in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But one of the theories was because his official title is an aerospace engineer. So that was what some people's theory was for that character, who obviously has turned out to be nothing.
I never saw that. That's interesting. But yeah, I think Armor Wars is sensible for the next sort of sword-based, maybe Secret Invasion 2. I think where Wanda is going, we know she's going to Doctor Strange. I just think there's so many questions how she's going to get there, how Agatha Harkness fits in, how it all is going to come together.
When does Doctor Strange happen then?
So the current timeline, we know there is a multiverse trilogy starting in WandaVision. It then plays into Spider-Man 3, which is December this year, and then March next year is WandaVision.
But does that
Doctor Strange?
Yeah. But does that mean there's going to be like a 10-month gap in timeline between the end of WandaVision and the start of Doctor Strange? Because Wanda can't be the bad guy then.
What I find interesting, and this is a big thing that I, again, don't think is mentioned enough, is that originally Doctor Strange was supposed to come out prior to Spider-Man 3. And the fact that they've just been able to swap them makes me think the multiverse was not a key part, for want of a better phrase, not a key part of it. And I think potentially Doctor Strange was going to play more like a two-parter with the third act of Doctor Strange heading into the Spider-Man universe and the third act of Spider-Man tying it all up with Doctor Strange. I think all they've basically done is swap that, so the final act of the battle will still happen in Doctor Strange, but maybe we'll see the Spider-Man side of things first, then we'll add Doctor Strange, then we'll see that bit play out. I am genuinely fascinated to see what happens in this movie. That is probably... I'm more interested in the multiverse than any other facet of the MCU at the moment.
But like for me, and now I think this doesn't surprise me. Now I'm about to say it. For me, Far From Home must have to happen directly. No, the Spider-Man 3 must have to directly happen after Far From Home. Now, obviously, we know we finished Far From Home with Peter's identity being revealed, so that doesn't surprise me too much. It should follow straight on from that. But
I'm pretty sure...
Otherwise, the timeline's going to be too stretched.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a thing that confirmed that.
Yeah.
That was it the thing that we pick up. It picks up right after his identity was revealed.
Yeah.
Which should be exciting to see. The last thing... Oh, Monica, she looked cool. She's got superpowers. That scene was awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. The last thing I wanted to touch on... now I've touched on Monica. Also, she has... blue eyes at the end. I'm pretty adamant. They look purple. I'm pretty sure they're blue, and it's bad visual effects.
No, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be. Hang on, who are you talking about?
Monica. At the very end of the episode.
I'm pretty sure she's supposed to have her normal, those eyes, because that's just her being
super. No, so
super.
Wanda has red eyes.
Yeah.
Agnes has purple eyes.
Yeah.
Monica has blue eyes.
Yeah.
In the post-credit scene, Monica's eyes appear purple.
Oh right. I think that's just the light shining up.
I could be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure they're not purple. They're supposed to be blue because she is shocked by Quicksilver's presence.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Quicksilver's not with Agnes anymore, whatever, complication. I'm pretty sure they're just blue. Maybe they're purple, but they didn't make it clear that they were.
No, so I don't think she's going to be.
We shall see. The final thing I wanted to touch on is my ongoing advert hypothesis.
But we didn't talk about this last episode. Because the last one was really weird.
The last one is the kicker. The one before this one.
Yeah.
So far, to keep you up, we have the toaster, which I think represents the Stark bomb. We had the Strucker watch, which represents them signing up to Hydra experimentation. We had the bath thing, the Hydra bath thing, which is
how they got probably
something the goddess within.
Yep.
Whatever.
It's how they got unlocked the superpowers.
Yeah, that's her powers. Episode 4 didn't have one because it was a flashback.
Yeah, then you had the Lagos towels, was it?
Episode 5, you had Lagos, the kitchen paper, which basically was the
mopping up the
mess she made in Civil War, the building which she exploded. Episode 6, we had the Halloween episode, which was the Yo Magic Dead Child commercial. There's no other way of putting it.
Yeah,
also a shark.
This episode, weird.
We had a Nexus pill.
Yeah.
Now, to say what I think this one meant, the Nexus is for want of a better word, if you want to talk vaguely, the multiverse and I believe the hub of the multiverse, how you access different multiverses.
That would be a really interesting thing, because the Nexus has been mentioned before as hub for the internet in Oslo. So the comparison would be really interesting, because obviously that would mean, it means she's pulling from it, technically.
No, I think the Nexus is just a coincidence, because I think, and I didn't check this and I forgot to check, I think the Nexus is a real place. So you know how they go to it? I think, in fact, I'm going to look this up while I talk, but I think that Nexus building is a real place, because I thought the same. I was like, well, maybe Vision is the internet half of the Nexus, and Wanda is going to be the physical part of it.
Because that would be really interesting, because obviously if they call the hub of the multiverse the Nexus, it would be really interesting as a kind of like a...
No, it's fictional.
Right, so there we go then. I think obviously that's where Tony found Vision. I don't
hiding.
Yeah, and maybe that's where Wanda's getting. Maybe that's where Wanda is accessing to do this reality stuff. Maybe that's where her powers come from. But the last episode one, which was creepy as anything.
Well, sorry, before we get to that one. So the Nexus, in my theory of things, the Nexus is the point that she feels after Endgame. It is the state of mind where she wants to fix things, and the solution of the Nexus being the multiverse is presented to her. Yeah. That's where I think that one fits in. It still makes sense. The problem I've been struggling with is the Yo Magic. The one from Halloween, just as you said. I've seen lots of ideas that it might be representing Billy.
Right.
If he doesn't get his powers, he dies. And I really was breaking this down word by word. I was like, what does this mean? And I can't remember the wording. Of course I can't. But it talks about, I was hungry until I had your... Because Yo Magic means your magic, in my opinion. Yeah. I was hungry until I had your magic. The boy then struggles to open up his magic or your magic, and then dies. Right. And I thought, well, if you look at the traumatic events that happened in Wanda's life, you have the Start Bomb, the experimentation, the getting powers, the thing in Civil War. Well, if you then end up in Nexus, well, what did you miss? What big catastrophic
And this is what I think
it
is. I think that child is Vision.
Again, they're all about Wanda. I think that is Wanda snapping away. Because she doesn't use her magic to save herself. I think she could have saved herself from a snap, but chose not to because of the emotional trauma. She couldn't open up her own magic, and thus she died. That is how I think it fits in.
For me, the way I saw it is... Because obviously we get a time lapse.
Yeah.
For me, that was signifying... obviously because Wanda used her magic to destroy the Mind Stone, right? Then Thanos rewound time and killed Vision. For me, that was another part of her grief, which was watching the person she loved, who she thought she was about to save. She's the shark. She thought she saved him. Die because of time. And because he also goes grey, which for me, I feel is very similar to obviously what we see, the horrifying images of Vision. And I think for me, that time lapse of obviously time forward, going faster, is the same as time rewinding in Infinity War.
Oh, see, I saw it as the time lapse being the dusting.
The 5 years.
Because she also goes all brown and weird when they dust. No, the time lapse being the dust. As the dust... She's basically just dusted because she can't use her magic, because she can't bring herself to. It's interesting. I want to see... I think there's one more commercial.
Well, this is the thing. Do you think that... I have a feeling, because Wanda's no longer controlling it because she's now under the influence of Agatha, I have a feeling that there's not going to be no more sitcoms left. That was Modern Family, which was the most recent one. I don't think there's going to be any left.
True, and we haven't seen any more, have we?
No.
There's no more... Well, I suppose there couldn't be any more. But And in fact, the only other thing we've seen is Wanda saying this is our home, or Vision saying this is our home, we need to protect it.
We've actually forgotten one of the shots that we see.
The Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone.
I remembered.
And I remembered recently as well.
Flashback. That is... Yes, because... Oh, this is another idea I've got. We know that they filmed flashback of Agatha. And the last time we had an episode end with a... No, it's actually not the last time because Quicksilver. But an episode with a similar reveal was when Monica got thrown out of the thing. When there was a state of play change.
Right.
I think the next episode will either be entirely or will begin with a flashback explaining how Agatha got there. You see her make Wanda's eyes purple. Mm-hmm. Which I've seen people talk maybe as possession, maybe as she's taking over him and she's going to use her as a puppet. I think she's just showing her the history. I think
that makes sense.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
How long that will last, I don't know, but I think we will see how Agatha got there. And then I think either part of that or, again, another flashback will be how Wanda got there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're the same. I think they're coincidences.
Okay, one last question. It's a yes and no. Is Agatha the missing person?
That was my last question I was going to ask you. Who is the missing person? Agatha cannot be the missing person because she arrives in the town once it is hexed.
Unless she just refused the hex and then decided to fit in.
No. But I'm saying, how did she get to the... she went missing. I don't know. I guess you're right. But I think the missing person just got caught up in it. I'm not sure who the missing person was. But I think they're of significant importance to either this franchise or a different franchise, or potentially, maybe, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to happen first, maybe a character that's important in there is in this town, and we don't know who they are yet, and that will be the end episode reveal of, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier character, come back in 2 weeks and you can see how this character got here.
Yep.
Something like that.
Sounds good.
We'll see.
Oh, can you imagine it's like you just turn around and you see Helmut Zemo somewhere. It's like, what?
Yeah, little purple face man.
Right, I'm happy with that. It was a great episode.
That was a rambly episode. We went right round the bend, so thank you for sticking with us, if you did. So make sure if you've made it this far, you owe us a like, because we're phenomenal people, just like you are. You like our podcast, we'll like you as a person. That's the trade-off we're going with here. And subscribe, leave us a comment, let you know what you think. Let us know who you think the missing person is. And we shall see you next time on the Two Dudes Movie Podcast.
See you soon.